Imagine va, is more on air a vet ansha con an taver sha a flayliv. My name is Kumayl Mustafa and I am an 18-year-old student representing Cork City, Corlin and Oak. I want to begin by asking you about the clothes on your back. Do you know where they were made? What they are made from? What it took to turn it from its raw materials to the fabric scratching off your skin? What will happen to them once a small tear forms in the side? When you walk into a store, do you have any idea of what you are buying off the rack? Its impact on our planet. When you pick up a bundle of bananas with the fair trade sticker, you know that farmers are being paid a living wage. When you see the cruelty-free leaping bunny, you know that no animals were harmed in the making of said product. When you pick up a shirt off a rack, shuffling through half a dozen tags to find one with the word eco on it underneath a green background, do you have any idea what it means? How can you make an informed decision on what to buy if the information out there is nigh impossible to sift through and what is there conflicts with each other? Consider how textile mills generate 1/5 of the world's industrial water pollution, using thousands of chemicals, many carcinogenic, to create the clothes found on our high streets. How can you consider the 500,000 tons of microfibers that find their way into our oceans per annum, or the 10% of global greenhouse gas emissions that come from the fashion industry? In the next 50 or so years, how much of the ocean will be polluted by clothes that someone wore once, whose impact on the environment will outweigh their impact on the consumer the moment they leave the factory, let alone their house? How much clean water will there be to drink if we are already living through crises across the globe as countries lack the water for sanitation and drinking, when by 2030, the fashion industry is set to use 8% of fresh water extracted? When these problems lie at the root of clothes production, how can we as consumers fight them? When 82% of European citizens do not trust the claims made by companies about their impact on the environment, it is clear that the current state of consumer awareness is abysmal. In the face of all this, many are overwhelmed and buy whatever they wish. How can one be a good person in a bad system? Fast fashion brands pump clothes out at prices affordable to all, but with a major toll to the environment, both in their production and their long-term effects. We cannot stop the rampant consumerism destroying our modern planet. And as the planet does not have the resources to match the constant growth and huge amounts of waste produced every year, we need to make efforts in order to help people make better choices by giving them more information about how what they were buying is made. An eco-label defines the sustainability and the environmental impact of a product by informing consumers on the product's materials, production, or the extent of its life cycle, its uses past what we would conventionally think. By introducing a standardized eco-label, we can make it possible for consumers to compare and contrast what they are buying and who they are buying it from. We need labels that can clearly and concisely convey the information to everyone, not just those who have the time to spend hours sifting through different brands and the specific labels that only apply to them. Greenwashing, a form of marketing in which green PR and green marketing are deceptively used to persuade the public that an organization's products, aims, and policies are environmentally friendly. It runs rampant throughout our society, making it difficult for people to make an informed choice. It works mostly through selective disclosure, using symbolic actions as a facade for destructive practices. A single standardized, concise label would help eliminate the action of such, help aid the elimination of such action, as well as the ambiguity behind eco-labels for the consumer, by creating a new transparent system that provides a ranking of sustainability. The system is the quickest and most effective way to provide an accessible means for consumers to educate themselves on what they're buying in a way that is both clear and efficient. Not only this, but we need to take the opportunity to educate people on the true importance of being aware of their actions. Fast fashion's culture of bulk buying cheap clothes to wear once is as unsustainable as it comes. Flimsy made clothes within months will begin filling our waters with microplastics and lining the landfills plaguing our natural landscapes. Clothing is a human need and right. Owning 20 different pairs of pants that differ only slightly in colour is not. When the justification for fast fashion and the clothes that are cheaply made is that their target markets focus on those who cannot afford to pay for high-quality, sustainable clothing, all while these companies know that these are the very same people who will be disproportionately affected by our disruptions to the environment, how can we stand by? How can we do nothing? There needs to be changes made to stop the cycle plaguing the vulnerable and the first step is to stop using their exploitation as a scapegoat for not doing what needs to be done. What we need is to focus on is changing the ways in which we see clothing, going back to our roots of mending and repairing clothes rather than treating them as disposable items. The government needs to take the time to support those who cannot afford quality, sustainable clothing, those targeted by the fast fashion companies. With proper regulations on advertising and labelling of such products, perhaps we can take the first step in fighting the rampant consumerism plaguing our society. I believe it's time to empower the consumer so that they can make an informed choice, as is their right. We need to take the time to educate consumers to shop around and buy clothing that lasts. As long as brands can continue to advertise their products under a facade of greenness and low pricing, just for those products to last less than 6 months before they end up clogging our waterways, our tendencies will lead us to a planet that is lifeless and desolate, akin to WALL-E, a movie that came out when I was just 4 years old, predicting a future where what was once green has now turned brown by material waste. The time for hoping things will change has long passed. I hope the speeches that you hear today will motivate you to introduce the changes necessary to save ourselves and our planet, both as lawmakers and as your everyday lives of citizens of our planet. Gavin Baker's live as for Oireachtas.